Good morning. Sorry, it's a little quiet during international break. I just don't like international football that much. It's not as readable as domestic league football. But let's have a look through yesterday. Was there anything you could have spotted? It's all dependent on who scores first, at least from this perspective here. If it's the Israelis, we've got a green light to take them on. But no, 1-1, possibility of laying the draw second half, and you'd have been amply rewarded with a very, very early second half goal to make it 2-1 to the favourites. So dependent on the draw, you could have laid the draw there. Solid performance. This is what I'm talking about, derby-style matches. Even at international level, they can be imponderable, going against market expectation. Great result for the Italians, I think, psychologically, particularly failing to get into Europe a few years ago. This is a real bonus for the Italians. Arguable, you could have laid the draw second half. Probable, if you did lay the draw second half, it would be a break even because the Italians scored first. Great result for the Itais. That's all I can say about that one. And in the Nations League B, any trading play? Well, you can look at the market itself. 2.63 the favourite in particular. Wales and Turkey. Very tough to take that one on. No trading angle there at all. Similar story here, unless the red card was the catalyst for change. Well, it wasn't. Daman. Yo, man. Daman. He's probably a break dancer as well. Daman. Scoring the first goal. And easy as you like, really, for Romanians. And yet again, the market's not reading these very well, are they? Another favourite bites the dust. Another favourite bites the dust. Another favourite fails to win. Another favourite fails to win. This was probably an example to you of why Norway were not in the Euros this summer. Even though they got the big man up front, just couldn't cross the line against Kazakhs. Yek Shemesh, as Borat would say. Great performance, great success. So as you can see, we saw it with the Asians the day before, I think it was. Odds on favourites dropping like flies. Now you see, because my tendency to trade here would be reliant firstly on the market. Look at that, losing 1-0. 1.07 shot, that's more like it. 1.1 shot failing to win. 1.38 scraping through a 1-0. 1.06 scraping through a 1-0. 1.7 winning. 1.62 fails to win. 1.33 fails to win. 1.36 fails to win. So quite clearly, market makers struggling to identify the strong favourites. They're not translating to victories. So that's why I'm a little cautious this international break. So I hope you'll forgive me for my caution. Under 21s yesterday. Well, you saw the starred ones. That's the odds on favourites, I think. Or the very, very short favourites. How about that for the second consecutive day in a row? 5-0, 7-0, 9-0. We've got the 7-0 for the Italian under 21s. Look at the Swedes under 21s. 9-0. That's why I keep telling you. Have a go. Why not? You can't get any money backing Sweden at 102. Be creative. You could even delay. With the Italians, it took them half an hour to score the first goal. Well, this was more like it. 2 minutes in. So you'd have had to place your bet right at the off. 5-0, 7-0, 9-0 with a bookie. Sit back and enjoy the ride. So you have been warned. I've mentioned this multiple times. Have the initiative to have a go yourself, please. You know. More market makers failing. France under 21s. Did they come from behind? Yeah, Les Frogs came from behind. So the possible trade there, early enough goal, if you went match odds, to have produced a profit. I think Lithuania was a profitable trade. I actually did this one myself. Got over evens in the match odds market, and I stayed in here at the equaliser. Weighing up the amount of time left, an hour to go. 1.18 shot. Or thereabouts. But yet again, you have to trust the market. We did get the late winner. That produced a £26 profit for me rather than a £12 loss had I stood at the 1-1. So that was an excellent play yesterday. Anyone else stand out yesterday? Well, not really. We've got another odds-on favourite losing. So it did tend to catch the red card, I think. Well, 71st minute red card at 2-2. So finally poised, and a penalty. I don't know if that was in reaction to the red. Came a couple of minutes afterwards. And they really took advantage of the red card, the Icelandic under-21s. Another odds-on favourite failing to win. Another odds-on favourite failing to win. Another odds-on favourite failing to win. Wow. So, and again there. So you see far too many of this lot are not converting, are they? That's what makes life difficult for me, because this is not league football where we have a whole raft of previous form to work off. As you can see, if we go to Sweden, for example, you've got a whole raft of previous form lines to work off. You've got patterns from those form lines and all the rest that accompanies an ability to read a match properly. In this case, well, we'll have a look at Västerås Gaias, for example. You can see the difference that in information that we have with a league match compared to an international match. International match, all you've got is the odds, really. Head-to-heads, if they're recent. But here, look, you've got recent form in all different categories as well. You've got the challenge table, which will tell you how they're getting on different parts of the league. So you can already get an identification that this is probably going to be a struggler for Västerås. You don't have this equivalent with international football, unless you really want to dig deep manually. So that's the problem I have with the international football, quite apart from the fact that quite clearly the market's finding it very difficult to target these matches. A whole raft of odds-on favourites falling by the wayside. Not what you want as a trader, particularly in international football. You want to have a certain reliance on the market being accurate. It's quite clearly it's not been during this international break so far. So many odds-ons falling foul. So that was it yesterday there. We can, I suppose, have a look at the tennis, although it's getting a little thinner on the ground now in the Grand Slams as we get deeper. Jannik Sinner, Jack Draper. Well, a step too far for Jack Draper. Great result for Pegula. Americans going through to keep the fans happy. Lost the first set. A possible play there. Taylor Fritz against a fellow American Tiafoe. Great start from Tiafoe. 2-1 up for Tiafoe as well. Could have taken on Tiafoe there. Could have taken him on there. Really solid performance from two Americans. Taylor's the man, though. I like following Taylor Fritz. Sabalenka is playing an American in the US Open. So possibility Sabalenka could be liable with winning the first set. But let's have a look back. Football for today.
Been suspended.
Plenty enough going on today, but as ever, the research leaves a little to be desired. All 7:45 kickoffs, apart from a couple of 5 o'clocks, Georgia, Ireland, and Armenia. This is the standout bet of the day. They look very good odds, England. The fact that they're not shorter is probably down to the Derby factor here. They're away in Ireland. Ireland are going to be packing that defence. It's, for me, the equivalent of a high-class English Championship side against a Premier League side. That's the kind of vibe I get from that England-Ireland match. It would be a big surprise to me if Ireland were to get anything here. They're going to be stifling England. Germany and Hungary, a new-look German side. We don't have the team news just yet, but they look about spot on. Let's have a look. Any research here for the Germans? I think another strong favourite. They're in transition. Isn't everybody these days? It's 2024, for goodness sake. They then. Let's have a look. Both teams to score. Possibilities. That could open the door up if Hungary score first. Kai Havertz, 4 goals in Germany in 2024. All in wins. He's in a hot streak of form at the moment, Kai Havertz. So that could be the key to success there. Netherlands and Bosnia. What you'd expect. The Dutch, again, a transitional side like the Norwegians, not the Germans, but really they've got too much firepower. Good strength in depth as well. I'd be looking at 3-0, 3-1. Any other home score? That sounds about right, and it fits in with a 1.18 quote. But international football is never that easy, is it? You don't get sides who quite simply roll on their sides and get done. Likely we're going to have struggles for the Netherlands to score that first goal, as is the usual case. Georgia and the Czech Republic, no strong opinion there. 2.25 to favourite. As I say, this looks like a banker for England in what's going to be a defensively led match for the Irish. It's quite simple, 10-man defence. Stifle the English. English fans likely to get frustrated with a 0-0 at half-time, but step up one of the big guns to get what could be a tight, narrow 0-1, 0-2 win. That's what I'm looking at. Best case scenario for the Irish, I think, would be a 1-1. Greece and Ireland. Greece and Finland, sorry. Well, 1.73 for the Greeks. 1-0 win, indeed. I thought 1.73 is a little bit too short for Greece. Can be defensively stout, as is suggested by the under 2.5 goals. But they're not exactly full of talent, are they? Ukraine and Albania. Tough one to pick, this one, because we don't see much of Ukraine at the moment. They do have a smattering Premier League players. So let's have a look. 2-0 win against the Albanians. The Albanians are a bit like the Lithuanians. They're in that kind of category. Be a big surprise if you get an Albanian win. They're just one of those sides you have to oppose, generally speaking, aren't they? Faroe Islands and North Macedonia, we're getting into the top class stuff now. Of course, I haven't got a clue with this one. Can you trust? So let's have a look. Faroe Islands and North Macedonia. 0-2 to North Macedonia. Well, there we go. That gives us something to work off coming into that match. Armenia and Latvia, this is the match we've all been waiting for. Couldn't get any sleep last night. Looking forward to this one. Huddle around your wireless, tuning in. Let's have a look. 1-2 to Latvia in the battle of the big guns. Now, in cases like Armenia, Latvia, FIFA World Rankings, I think, would help to create a little bit more information for you. Who's ranked where? Latvia and Armenia. It's very tough to get a call on. So we're going to go to the men's rankings here. Coca-Cola. If all these professional footballers drank Coca-Cola, they wouldn't be able to run 20 yards. Ridiculous. It's like the World Cup sponsoring by McDonald's. Awful stuff. No, that was the Olympics, wasn't it? In London. Sponsored by Killer Food. But enough about that. Let's have a look. Armenia and Latvia. Who is where? We might need a second page or a third page. This lot are going to be. There we go. 97th in the world rankings, Armenia. And they're playing Latvia. So 97th is playing 137th. Now we have trust issues, don't we? Simple as that. Armenia and Latvia. 1.7 to the Armenians. They're under 100. Moldova and Malta, again, no clue. Israel under-21s recently played the German under-21s and didn't get any change out of that. Got absolutely done, as befits the market. But now they're suddenly odds-on favourite. Can we trust that? That was an emphatic win for the German under-21s at 1.2. Sudden switch. Israel are now 1.34. Certainly piques my interest at 7 o'clock, that one. South America is going to be out of our time zone. I don't think we'll have any league football. I think we've got English League 1 English League 2. So let's take a quick look at that. And I might use something I'm trialing, footballformlabs.com. I've already cancelled my 15-day trial for this. I won't be pursuing it. I don't think it, for me personally, has enough distinctions to have me interested in paying 30 quid a month. I can get everything done using my own 2 eyes. I don't have a good enough strike rate, and I don't really like the over-reliance on third parties and their conclusions, particularly if it costs me money. But let's have a look. Just for English, the game notes really. Let's take a different perspective. If you can make 30 quid a month work, then by all means have a go here. I've forgotten my password. Let's have a look. So it's a nice bit of kit. The live logic might interest some of you. What it does is, as the match progresses, it gives you different scenarios as the live matches unfold. So it could say, in the 30th minute, in the last X number of matches, this X, Y, and Z happened. So daily reports. Let's go to English League 1, English League 2. Look at a different perspective in the game notes. Well, we've even got some research for the football, but game notes. This could be a solution for you for your over 2.5 goals as well. You can see plus 2.5 goals. They're giving their arguments for you. So if you want to pay 30 quid a month to get a list of 2.5 goals, I can't give you the strike rate. But have a quick look here. Crewe against Morecambe. Barnsley against Bristol Rovers. Newport against Port Vale. Notts County Accrington. Plenty of overs there. Be interesting to see the strike rate that this has. Match outcome. Again, we can go to the leagues. Go to English. I think we've got League 1 and League 2 today, which I haven't researched. What I like to do with English League 1, English League 2 is if they do hold these previews at Soccerway and here, I will collate them for you, but they don't have it today. So I'm not going to be researching manually such a lowly league. We've even got a number of matches but we don't actually have the odds up just yet. So that's not very helpful at all. But let's have a look at these game notes in English League One. Burton and Crawley. Burton have scored the first goal in 9 out of 16 home matches. Barnsley against Bristol Rovers is over 2.5 goals. So you might want to pause the video and make a note, see what kind of a strike rate this lot will have. Under 2.5 goals, Cambridge United and Bolton. So this is the positive aspect of Football Form Labs. It gives you the market it thinks is the strongest in this particular match, rather than the pre-match research. Charlton have scored the first in 7 out of 11 home matches against relegated teams. That's a good stat to go to war with, isn't it? So if you can make more than a 30 quid profit a month, then this might be worthy of your attention. £29.95. Exeter and Birmingham, first half outcome. Exeter have drawn the first half in 6 out of 7 home matches. That could open the door up to laying the draw second half. Huddersfield and Blackpool, top 6 relegated teams have scored first in 59%. That's not really a high enough percent for me. Leyton Orient, first half outcome. Leyton Orient have drawn the first half in 6 out of 10 home matches. Lincoln against Northampton. Lincoln have won 8 out of 13 home matches against mid-table teams. Stockport, top 6 promoted teams have scored first in 50% of home matches. But what's the point of giving us a 50-50 stat? I don't understand. 50% of a chance of scoring first, 50% chance of not scoring first. It's a total pointless stat to be passing on. What are you going to do with that? Wigan have scored first in 10 out of 14 home matches, while Stevenage have conceded first. So that could give you a possible angle in as well. Under 2.5 goals, Wrexham and Shrewsbury. I tend to prefer over 2.5 goals, because that's what they're after, isn't it? Goals, rather than no goals being scored. Top 6 promoted teams have had under 2.5 goals in 68% of home matches. Wycombe against Mansfield, Wycombe Wanderers have scored first in 7 out of 9 home matches. So football form, lads, it's an interesting bit of kit. You can go really in depth into it, but I don't think this serves me very well because I'm a reactive trader, so none of this really matters. I'm reacting to what's happening in play on the day. That's the most current, up-to-date information, isn't it? What I liked here, I think we had these tables, which are very interesting because they'll show you profitability, which I thought was very useful. Who's the most profitable home side? Well, not enough matches played just yet. Who's the most profitable away side? Now, this brings up some interesting results as the season progresses. You might find, like West Ham a couple of seasons ago, very, very profitable away from home. Handicap results as well. So you can lost by 2 goals. This is for Asian handicap markets, I suspect. And this is what you like against promoted sides. What I'm talking about, focusing on newly promoted, newly relegated sides. You can get a good record, as you can get from the challenge table as well. If sides are adept against newly promoted, you've already got a trading angle in, haven't you? So that's Football Form Labs for you. I'm not affiliated to them. I just take the odd trial out now and again. So that gives you some potential angles. League One and League Two, I will be purely reacting. I won't be doing a live chat webinar today. Look at the amount of postponed matches in League One. I don't think we'll have enough matches to talk about. Don't forget, we've got lots of odds on favourites today. It's up to us when we get here to soccer24.com. Before our session begins, make sure that you're ticking your odds on favourites boxes. So I'll see you probably from 3 o'clock onwards, unless there's an earlier kickoff on Telegram. Sorry, it's a little quiet during the international break. It's a deliberate on my part. I do not like international football, and I hope I've amply illustrated to you with so many odds on favourites going down that we can't rely on the market as a guide, which makes it doubly difficult to trade. But fear not, a week's time, we're going to have the start of league football returning, which I'm looking forward to. This time next week, 14th of September, we've got a full complement of top quality football, readable football as well. Saints against Man U, you can already see Saints are struggling as a newly promoted side. Ipswich putting in a good shift defensively, particularly at home. Crystal Palace yet to discover the goal scoring of the bottom half of last season, so they could be vulnerable against Leicester. Yet to score that second goal, Crystal Palace. There's a big surprise under that new manager. Fulham and West Ham is yet another London derby. Absolute imponderable. Liverpool and Nottingham Forest could be another example of the Ipswich-Liverpool game where Forest will keep them tight for the first half. Possible 1-0, 2-0 win there. Man City-Brentford, likely to be 2-0 or 3-0 there. Aston Villa, well, we saw Everton produce us £136 profit after leading 2-0 against Bournemouth. They have now conceded 3 goals, and this is an Aston Villa who don't need an invitation to score. Bournemouth and Chelsea. Bournemouth, we're going to have to be very watchful because Chelsea can ignite, as you saw against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Marseille and Nice is a Côte d'Azur derby. That's the last of the Côte d'Azur sides. Monaco away at Auxerre. Paris Saint-Germain looking great without Kylian Mbappe. Plenty of goals in them as well. German Bundesliga is very early in the season. Bayern Munich is still unimpressing. Yes, they did get a nice £70 profit in that last match, but they having to come from behind and then scoring late winners. It's all a little huff and puff. Great result for Leipzig, beaten Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen must win already this season. They were unbeaten last season. They've lost their opening match against Leipzig. You're going to expect a comeback here. Probable goals before half-time, that's for sure. So plenty going on next Saturday. So please excuse a quiet international break. But I'll be on hand for you at the start of coverage today, whenever that is, probably lunchtime for some kickoffs. But it looks like 3 o'clock is a good starting point for English League One, English League Two. So I hope will yield us a trade or two. Have a great day. Again, my apologies for the quiet period. We just, that's the way the cookie crumbles with international football. But I wouldn't put you off trading if you've got your own angles. I just don't like the competitions, the lack of angles in. Have a great day. See you about 3 o'clock or earlier on Telegram if there's any trades.